Okay, so here's the plan for today. One's a little more elaborate. This is shape-shifting fox, Huipil, and as you can see, there are these wonderful red garnet healing power beads around the front, healing myself and others. You know, we are enabled to heal others. Here is the label, Copeland 638. Another reason I like to do these videos, if ever a counterfeit one of these comes up, wow, we could totally prove it was one of my works. Okay, so shape-shifting fox, I started last year, and while I was beginning working on it, in the news there were lots of events having to do with the core of the earth, like it had stopped spinning and the molten lava inside the core of Earth, I think that's what it's called. I could be very wrong, but anyways, it stopped and it started spinning the other way. This was big news. And in the New York Times, I also read articles about the sun. The sun it was going through some kind of very intense activity. This is Fluff. He's my old cat. Been living with me a long time, since 2009. Okay. So, here we go. Here comes Yessery. Oh boy. So, anyways, also on YouTube. Okay, here comes Yessery. Mister. Yessery's a young cat, less than a year old. So, on YouTube I learned that shape-shifting fox, one of the attributes is fire. And as I was working on this, I was learning the divination technique of using ordinary playing cards, and diamonds are fire. The element of fire, they're the top, so it goes diamonds top because it's fire and it represents the sun, and following under that are the clubs, which represent air. So air is below fire. Below that are the hearts, which is water, and below that is earth. The spades are earth. Okay, so that made me very interested. I wanted to represent, so this represents the sun, you know, and the intensity of this heat of the sun is, they say, and they have a way to measure it, apparently, that's the same heat, 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the same heat that is in the center of our earth. Same, you know, that kind of molten iron. Is it iron and nickel? That's revolving, moving around the very core of the earth. which is hardened iron and nickel. So anyways, I hope I have that information right. Okay, so this is so the theme of shape-shifting fox for the healing power is heat, and I started this down here. I was thinking, okay, I wanted to represent, I want the molten earth. I wanted somehow, the hot, like that, up there is the sun, and I wanted also the earth, that core of our planet Earth. If you stop and you think about it, we are so tiny walking around on this surface of this planet, which is amazing energy at the very center of it. Tap into that. They always say, ground yourself. Wow, when you ground yourself and you go all the way to the center of our planet, you're encountering some very amazing energy and heat. So as time went on, then I went to one of the sessions. Every 6 months we go to the sessions of the 3-year program to learn about shamanic practitioner techniques. So this most recent one, during that time I was talking with one of the classmates, and she said that the mother of her boyfriend brought back and gave to her a tiki statue from Hawaii that she put in her window. Apparently they like to be in the sunny window, and hers is for money. So I thought, I would love one of those. I love wealth and abundance, tapping into our amazing planet and everything that it offers. So when I got back from that, I went online and I ordered some tiki statues, just so I could have this. And I'm falling in love with these little spirits. So it turns out, I hope you can see this, these sold through tikimaster.com. It's a Hawaiian company. I believe they're supposedly like that, but they are actually carved in Indonesia. And this is the money tiki. There's a certain pattern that they follow, and here, let's see this one. Also money, made in Indonesia. Money tiki, same coloring, although it's muted. Same, and I learned just this morning, I was learning about them, that there's a symbolism to the bent knees of respect. That's what they believe. And here's another one. This one is made in Indonesia for lucky. This one is different, you see. Doesn't have the top hat. And basically the same. So I like this luck. I enjoy having good luck, no question about it. These two are kind of the same, coloring wise. Muted. And this one, I like the little skirt that it comes with. Happiness. Oh, yes. So this one is for happiness. It has like a little coloring, and brings like it places these images in the Hawaiian or Polynesian islands with the skirt. And one more. This small one. I like the small one. This one also made in Indonesia. Money Tiki. And this one, this is kind of like the little kid in the group. So this is like a family of tiki statues. This is the young one. So I wanted to, because this shape-shifting fox is all about fire, and the Hawaii is known for its volcanoes, and I wanted to start sewing into the pattern these tiki statues, and somehow like put in a volcano that's, has a little bit of lava flowing down. Maybe this is originally supposed to be grass, but we can pull the image back and I can turn these into palm trees and have this be the beginning of the lava. So anyways, this morning at first I thought, okay, Indonesia, oh darn, they're not real tiki statues. But this morning in a YouTube video of a man lecturing about that he was an anthropologist, went to these islands in the Pacific, looking at going from island to island. He became knowledgeable about the tiki statues and the art from that part of the world, and the theories. They have different theories of, did the people from Easter Island come from the west, which would be like Indonesia, or did they come from South America, the east? And they have nobody's really totally sure about that. There are no records to confirm anything. So anyways, I thought, well, maybe this, and sure enough, this image of these tiki, the typical kind of tiki, big head, bent knees, figure with a grimace. They have these apparently in Indonesia too, which is significant for me as an artist. And I'll tell you why. Because when I was a little kid, that was a little kid growing up I was born in New Orleans in the United States, but when I was 1.5 years old, my family moved to Indonesia, Rambai. And so that meant that my most important years, formative years, they were spent in Rambai, Indonesia. And so my mom made this book and gave it to me. She would write letters to her mom, grandmom, and granddad in Jackson, Mississippi. I like this image too. Look at this. Campaign for Tibet. Human rights organization. Look, see all of these connections all around the world. Lo Sang Gyatso, Tibetan painter. I think this is really great. To keep it. Okay, so these are excerpts from letters from Indonesia, 1961 to 1965. That places us in Indonesia. Look at this, palm trees. This is my sister Jo, and look at there, she's embroidering. my sister Jo, since the youngest of ages, was those kids who are creative and they handle scissors and paper and paints, and she could do crafts from a very young age. Here, this is myself, probably about five years old, I'm guessing. And this is my sister Becky. We loved cats. And apparently we had like 13 cats. And so that's not surprising. None of this is surprising. When you start looking back, and none of it, how it all is shaping out. So it could be that if I read this book, I may get a clue. Remember, because I was too young, most of what I have, my memories from that time period are blurry, but I can maybe read this book and get a clue. Why? So like I know that I have art background from my mom and her family, her side of the family, but where does this shamanic practice in the Buddhism come from? And it could be from having those formative years in Indonesia. I will have to read that. And anyway, so what I'm going to do today is get started. I really want to incorporate into this. We'll start them, put all 5. These are the front. Here's the front. I want to incorporate all 5 of these tiki statues into this shape-shifting thoughts Huipil. It's going to be a big job. The shape they're pretty. The shapes are going to be bigger than this circle. They're pretty easy, but to get the greatness of them, maybe start with happiness. A good place to start. So normally, sorry it's taking me so long. So normally, what was I going to say? Should I make them life size? I guess that would be the easiest. Make them life size. So this would be, yeah, it's going to be the easiest. So in the video that I watched this morning, I wanted to learn about the history of tiki statues, where, the origin and the beliefs. So the man who was lecturing, he was an American, had lots of slides from around that part of the world. And supposedly the tiki, a real one, they're thousands of years old, that's number one. But one of the either like the first one or one of the very first ones was a statue of one of the kings who was a tremendously powerful king. When he died, somebody carved a stone in lava, I think. Could be wrong there too, but definitely stone. That statue is still on that island. I should have my details. I don't have my details. Anyways, that statue became like a deity. That's why they say the tiki statues are human and gods. They're semi-divine or demigods. That's what they're called. They're called demigods. And so let's get started. So I was disappointed to find out that a real tiki statue for the power has to be created, carved by someone who's in the royal family, which is very unlikely that any of these are made by a royal family member in Indonesia. Very unlikely. So anyways, and those statues in the different Polynesian islands they are, especially the older ones that were created by somebody in the royal family, they have mana, which is power. High degrees of mana. And these little statues for tourists like me, these are watered down. So it would probably, I don't know, will they ever have mana? I don't know. Don't know about that. Anyways, on the other hand, from the point of view, well, Zen people, we believe everything has consciousness. Consciousness is everywhere, in every part, whether there's an object made out of the vibrations or not. This thread, this needle, the air churning in the atmosphere of this house, everything has consciousness. So even though these little statues let's see here, should be bigger, even though these statues may not have mana because they are created by a royalty family member, they still have some degree of consciousness, definitely on par with everything else, at least minimum. Like, for example, one of the things I enjoy doing stepping outside my front door and just saying to the rain gods or rain goddess or whoever, the rain spirit, we can do with some rain, and please skip the lightning, knowing that there is a rain spirit up there somewhere. We can ask for rain, and sometimes the rain spirit comes through, short bursts of rain. In any case, I'm enjoying having this family of tiki statues in my house. They live in the laundry room, looking out the window in the laundry room. It's warm in there and they like sunny windows. So even though they may lack the power, in the video, I can put a link to the video in the description box when I produce this for YouTube. The lecture that I listened to, somebody's curious to learn more about tiki statues. The man giving the lecture told a story about how people are on one of the islands, how they are selected. It's a crazy story, and I believe it. It's true. Whether it's still happening, I don't know about that. It's possible it's still happening. I think you have to be a young man. So off the main island are two smaller stony islands. And on one of those islands is a bird that is a nest. They build their nests out there. See, all of my details are hazy, so I can't tell you the name of the island. You have to watch the video and the name of the bird. But so here's the test. So when they have to choose a new royal family leader for the island, the men who want to participate in the contest, they let's see, how does it work? Is it their father or somebody? They do this. They themselves are not end up being the king. It's the older man in the family, or the older man from, I think it's the older man, that maybe it's their father. Anyways, okay, so the men, they have to climb down this vertical, scary cliff down to the waters below, and during the climb down, they're bound to get injured. They're bound to get like bloody knees or elbows, something like that. Anyways, chances of them having blood on them are high. Then they have to swim out to the bigger of the two little rocky islands and through shark-infested water. And this is totally true. There are sharks in the vicinity, which are, they're attracted to the men. Somebody horrible. Oh my goodness. Okay, so some of them are attacked by the sharks and eaten, killed. Reduces the number. And so they get to the little island after swimming out there. They find an egg, and they have to tie the egg very gingerly to their forehead with a band of cloth, not break it, swim back through the shark-infested water to the cliff, and climb this vertical cliff back up to the people who are watching. They're on the top of the cliff, watching and waiting. And the first one who makes it back with the egg still whole, intact, and that young man presents the egg to I guess it's their father, or the elder man, we can just at least say that. And that elder man becomes the next king. And all of the other young men who participated, they are killed. So one way or another, if you want to be in that contest, you're going to be dead, or the rest of your life you will be treated as royalty. And talk about who comes up with these ideas. I don't know. These stories are incredible. Around our planet Earth, oh my goodness. Trial by fire. See here. Sitting there. See, the thing with embroidery, stitching, we can always pull some out, change it. It's very fluid. I think I'll go down to the hem. Maybe start cutting over. Absolutely fascinating. So one of the things I'm wondering, I will read this little book of letters from when we were in Indonesia, looking for a clue. Maybe we had contact. So in Rumbai, most of the people were Muslims, apparently, with maybe some Buddhists living there. Can't really say for sure at that time. See, everything could be totally different now, 64 years later. But maybe I came across a shaman. I know that positive they have them there. Without question, they have their own culture. We were exposed to a lot of the native culture. You know, Indonesian art, their culture, their dance and performances, puppet performances, music, everything is so elaborate, highly developed. And so there's a possibility I came in contact with someone who impressed on me shamanic practices. So one of the things, okay, so we have Deer Power is finished. Last year that one is done. And these other 4 you have seen. We have Mouse, Bald Eagle, and this one is Shape-Shifting Fox. You have seen. And the 5th one is the one, believe it or not, I've been resisting starting. I've barely gotten it started. It's gonna be an intense Huipil. It's Osprey, and I'll tell you why when we get to Osprey. You might understand why. That's a cliffhanger. Osprey's a very different animal. All these other ones, no problem, I can handle. Osprey's the one. It's gonna be. So, oops, I think I'll end this one here. I have to read the excerpts first. Looking for clues. Maybe, because that's another thing. Osprey. What do I do for Osprey? And so Shape-Shifting Fox is fire. Bald Eagle you could say is air. Mouse you could say is earth. And Osprey is water for sure. Water. If we go by, that's a water bird. And water is emotions in divination, the traditional Western, at least I know about that, Western. Okay, that's pretty okay. A little bit further over. We're going to stop this video here. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you for viewing.